everyone, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we are going to work on some beginner-friendly on-the-pole conditioning exercises. Today I'm going to go through 5 different conditioning exercises for you. Conditioning is super important for all our tricks and everything we're going to do with our pole dancing, so let's dive in and do it. For our first exercise for our conditioning today, we are going to do some climb repeaters. So this exercise is to get us super strong for our climbs, because in the future our climbs just become a transition. So what we're going to do for this one is we're going to set up into a climb position, making sure our knee is squishing onto the pole as hard as possible. Make sure with this knee as well, you don't start too low, because with this exercise, you might find that the legs start sliding down anyway. So we want to keep it up a little bit higher. From here, my left leg is on, so my left arm is going to come up nice and high. When I pull up, I'm going to try and aim for my chest to come to the pole without hooking my other leg on, and then come back down. So the key to this exercise is keeping tension in my arms and keeping tension in my leg. Usually when we do the climb, all we need to do is coming up and hooking on. But from this one, we're going to come up and hold it for a second, and then we're going to come back down. So we're having that tension in our body the whole time. So I'm going to show you what it looks like from here. We're coming up and then down, up and then down. As you can see, my leg will start sliding a little bit. So after a few, you might want to readjust that leg to be able to come up and then down again. Now, if you want an extra challenge, what I'm going to get you to do, instead of touching the ground in between, we are going to send that leg back behind us and not touch the ground. With this, I want you to make sure that you straighten your arms all the way to get the most out of this exercise as well. So for this one, we come up and back, making sure that the arms straighten all the way. We don't want to do just the legs. We want to be able to get the most out of the movement by doing the full range through the arms and pushing through the leg at the same time. Yeah? Make sure you do both sides. And for this one to start with, let's try and do 10 reps each side and do that 3 times. Our next conditioning exercise is we're coming onto the ground, and we're going to work on our pulling strength again, but we are going to try and do as much as we can through the arms. So from here, we're going to bring our chest and our crotch really close to the pole, and what we're going to try and do is work on our pulls. So eventually this will turn into a full pull up, but for now we're going to keep our feet on the ground. So you want to keep your feet bent, bringing your hands up nice and high. You are going to use your legs to push in, but I want you to make sure you're coming directly up and then back down. Directly up. Keeping the chest as close to the pole as you can. What I don't want to see is pushing the legs too much and then pushing up like this and in. Yeah, that's not using your arms in the way that we want for this conditioning exercise. So if you want for this one to make it a little bit more challenging, we're going to straighten one leg, and that leg is going to start to come up in the air. So one leg down, nice and bent, making sure your chest is in, hands above your head. We're going to push in, bring this leg up at the same time, bringing your head just above your hands. Yeah? Make sure you do the other leg straight and also the other hand up high. Now, an extra hard one for this one is we're going to come up, take the leg off, and come down. Now that might feel like a little bit too hard, but that is something you want to aim towards, and you can always test to see how you're going by trying these harder variations and then work up towards them. So for our third exercise, we are going to do continuous fan rolls. Now, if you haven't learned a fan roll before, you don't know what I'm talking about, this is what a fan roll is. Over to the side. So making sure that your arms are down nice and low, that you're squeezing, arms staying bent for this entire movement. Legs are straight and toes are pointed. That's the most important thing about this exercise, is keeping your body nice and tight. Even if your legs go really low, it doesn't matter. As long as your arms are bent, legs are straight and toes are pointed. So To turn this into a conditioning exercise, we are going to do it continuous without stopping. So we're going to go there and back, and then we can have a break. So from here, we're going around, tapping down, and then coming back around. If you wanted to make it a little bit harder, you could just do that in a row as well without stopping in between. But going there and back is quite hard. You might find that in your classes that you have gone one way and not the other way. So a few tips for coming back. Try and make sure that you don't let go of your arms and you're not turning around too much. When we come back, we want to pull and continue that semicircle back the other way to where we first started. So arms bent, legs straight, toes pointed. Make sure you do both sides. Okay, our fourth conditioning exercise, guys, is going to get a little bit more technical. We're going to do an exercise that's going to transition between two tricks. So this one is also challenging our brain as well as our body. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook on into this position. You can even have a bent leg on top if you find you're struggling with grip. What we're doing from here, bringing our hands up. We're coming around to here and then back around. And then you can put your hand back on. So making sure when you're coming out of it, you're pulling up and not sliding down. A couple different ways you can do this, guys. If you need to keep both hands at the top, that's okay. If you're finding it a bit hard to move into that split grip position, you can keep both hands at the top and just move back and forward between that position. The key to this one is keeping that top leg bent and squeezing it on the pole as hard as you can, because that is staying there along with those hands, or at least that top hand, as you transition back and forward. This will help you as well with your tricks when you're doing combos to stay strong in the whole combo. So trying to do a couple in a row. So you can start like this, coming up, and then back down. Coming up, and then back down. And then pulling up to finish. Again, make sure you do it both sides as well, and let us know how you go. For our last exercise, we are going to add a spin into our conditioning. So we are going to transition between two spins. Now, sometimes people find spins really hard because you might not have the strength in that top arm to quite support your weight. So what we're going to do with this spin is we're going to keep one leg on for our first spin, and then we're going to transition to the other leg on. So there's only a small amount of time where you don't have a body part touching the pole, or one of your legs touching the pole. So our hands are coming up nice and high. Ideally, we want to take a couple steps into this. We're going to go front hook to back hook. And then we can just take a step and stand up, yeah? This one can be a bit confusing. If you don't change fast enough, then you might find yourself on the ground before you're able to change. So when we do that first hook, you then want to take this leg that's on the pole off and then twist it around back behind you. This is also one of those conditioning exercises that is going to make you think a lot, and it's going to help definitely when you start to put your combos together as well. So again, we're going to take a couple steps around the pole. We're going to go front to back and let yourself slide down. Some extra conditioning points is you're going to do a little crunch before you stand up, yeah? Make sure you definitely do this on both sides. It'll help with your coordination as well, which is really important when learning new pole tricks. Yeah, so make sure with this one, hand up nice and high. You're hooking that leg on when you're turning around. This arm across your chest is going to pull into your armpit, and you're going to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze really tight. Push your hips forwards, come all the way to the ground. Yeah, give it a go. Thanks guys again for watching. I hope you enjoyed our conditioning exercises. Please make sure that you share it with us, tag us, and also share it with a friend that you might think will benefit. Until next time.